GM Farcaster. It is Monday, July 22nd, and you are here with Nounish Prof and Adrian for 29 minutes of Farcaster news to start your day. Good morning, Adrian. How are you today?
GM. Happy Monday.
We've been it's been taking a little long to prep here today because there were so many links and then they started to not load anymore, and so it's been a little challenging. It's a lot happening, but not really.
I was thinking of links yesterday because over the weekend, as Prof is pulling links and throwing it into our little group chat, I'm like, there's too many links for Monday. And I don't know how you think we're going to get to them all. Stop pulling links. And the tabs, there are going to be too many tabs. And
that's what's happening. It's exactly what's happening. She's like, there's a lot of links. I think we have too many links. I'm like,
I was getting mild anxiety.
It's fine. It's not fine. It's definitely not fine. And
because then before the show, Prof has to open every link on her computer in a different tab and hope they all load. And that's sometimes why we are just a minute or two late. So apologies.
And sometimes they don't load. So this is where we're at today. Some of them are not loading. And but anyway, some of them are. And most of what the links are from, there's, the vibes are immaculate, and they're in two categories. Everyone is low-key obsessed with their waifus, but also wanting to LARP politics and stuff. And that's pretty much, thanks, GM Farcasters. Chat's hilarious. So, so most of my links revolve around these waifu. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm assuming. I could be totally wrong, so please correct me if I'm wrong. This launched on Friday, I think. Yeah, Friday. And it kind of took over the feed completely. Everybody taking their PFPs and turning them into these cute little anime waifu women. And they come with a hilarious description, which, a little concerning with, I don't know if I want to be waifu. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. I knew I was probably pronouncing it incorrectly. So this was really cute, and it has like a little AI generated caption that comes from your casts. So mine was totally, saying that I was low-key obsessed with Farcaster. Yeah. Just might be a little bit. My QDAO is higher than my IQ. Okay, I can live with that. By the way, mine looks more like you than me, I think. Looks like your fox.
It looks a little foxy. Yeah.
Except for the pizza, it's like kind of looks
you got the glasses. Not quite noggles, but
yeah. Most things cannot make noggles. They are special. They have to be handmade. So really cute. Kristen's was lovely. Absolutely love. This is the first one that I saw, and then she was shouting out horse faxes though, because look at horse faxes is hilarious. I thought that was phenomenal. Dan's pretty good. This one looks a little deep, dark, and moody. Not really, a happy waifu. V's is badass. I loved V's with the armor. That was pretty cool. Then we had July's meme here. Make waifu from your PFP. Make a waifu from your waifu. Make your PFP your waifu. It was pretty funny. Like, yes. In little inception, little waifu inception.
Just a little recursive loop, if you will, of PFPs and waifus until what do you end up with?
And I don't know. Let's find out. And speaking of, Cassie changed her PFP. Hers is really cute too, by the way. So she changed hers, and then she posted this new version of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, self-waifuization, getting expertly roasted by your own personality, your own personally waifu self on Farcaster. I thought that was pretty cool. And then, of course, Ran DeMero weighing in. Waifus, but on bonding curves. Okay.
And it's probably going to happen.
Please don't do that. I beg of you.
But someone will.
but somebody will. So this is a fun little meta. It kept us interested.
Came
It was kind
did anyone know it was coming? I love when something just pops up and takes over.
of takes over. It's fun. It made it really
Um,
fun. So I enjoyed this. It was a fun little meta that we had, a fun little moment. And that was pretty much all that was going on until last night. And then other things happened. But before we get to that, like, oh my God. So we're trying desperately to not do politics on this show. And some people are making it really difficult. So stop it.
where does politics end and a meme begins? We are
This is the
allowed,
question.
we are officially
Yeah,
allowed to cover memes. So
that's it. That's all we're doing. Only memes only. But I did love this is how I also felt coming back from Twitter. Me coming to Farcaster to talk with my purple friends from either party about Biden after experiencing the shitstorm of toxic tweets on Twitter.
okay, that's an
Yeah, it was
adorable
definitely
video.
it was an adorable video, and there is definitely a different vibe when you're coming over from the Bird app. It's a whole different game over there, and I'm looking for. Let me see if I can find if Dan's cast loaded. Yes, so this was interesting. Dan decided to have a little fun yesterday. He was pot stirring. It was clear. He was definitely pot stirring. It took me a second. Didn't realize that's what was happening. And then I realized that's what was happening. So observation asked the same question on both FC and X. Only X did I have people resort to ad hominem for asking the question, and then extrapolate. I can't even say that. Never mind. To Farcaster was somehow doomed. Like it was really kind of funny. Like they immediately started attacking Farcaster. And the question was, what's the most credible argument that the current president can't run for re-election yet can continue with the world's toughest job for another 100 days? And he was kind of poking. If you go through the replies, you'll see him really digging in and going back and forth. But I did look at both of them, and it was interesting. The responses were definitely different. There was definitely a different vibe happening. So it was interesting. It was interesting to go back and read that. So we're not even gonna read them. We're not even gonna read the replies. That's we're not doing that.
Yeah.
But we will show a couple more memes because the memes.
We'll link it. We'll link it if you want to read. If you want to take it, take your
Absolutely.
time and read it. You're welcome to. But pass.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I loved this from
I think
Keckers.
Dan was. By the way, do you think Dan felt like he had to, stir the pot yesterday because he's competing with the random arrow engagement? Is he getting
Maybe.
competitive with
Ooh.
his?
Ooh, maybe. I was just thinking I mean, clearly Twitter had a good day, right? Because the news itself, and this has happened a couple times, where big news has actually been broken on Twitter, and that this was one of those times. So you have everyone going there to get news, and if you're a competitor, competing platform, you're going to want to try and drive people to talk about it there as well. So I think that was probably it, and then also just an opportunity for an experiment with to compare what happened when he asked the same question, which he does on occasion anyway, but this is a little bit more a little spicier than he normally does. So but yeah, I thought it was interesting for sure. I enjoyed reading through the comments. So and then I started to realize what he was doing because I was like, what? I was like, wait, what? What do you mean? And this is funny. My timeline is a machine that turns major political events into 1 million mid tweets. Accurate. Quite accurate. And then this, what an election, huh? Lemon, it's July. Ivy, that was perfect. That was absolutely perfect. That's how I was feeling. And this keep the streak 0 days since last historic and unprecedented event. This is what's killing us right now is the unprecedented events. But on another note, good point, Riley, and a couple other people mentioned this as well. By the way, this is one of those moments where a more chronological feed would be a good idea. So again, in case you didn't know, Supercast does have reverse chronological feed. Should you want that before
Yeah,
Dan
so
tells you?
reverse chronological feed has been a hot meta topic over the past week.
Very much so. Very much so. Yeah. And I think Dan has said, yes, they would like to do that as well. I don't, it just would take away from other priorities. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know
An
how long it takes
opportunity
to,
for someone else to do.
and they did. They did. It's called Supercast. It's called Supercast. Woj is over here like, I'm right here. I think actually he casted again today. Supercast casted today. I'm telling everybody there was chronological feed. There you go. So go jump over there on Supercast if you want your feed chronological. Few other notes. How good was that interview with Will on Friday?
I
So
loved it.
good. It was so good.
I
So
don't know
if
if
you guys
I'm
missed it, go watch it. It was so good. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I was
thought
gonna
it
say, I
was
don't know if I'm
fantastic.
qualified to comment without bias, but I thought it was awesome.
No, we're very biased, but it was really good. And I think that the comments that we had, I can't get logged into. I'm lonely. Sorry. The comments that we had were, reflected that. So I feel like people really learned something from that. And wanted to mention this. So if you haven't seen the interview, go give it a watch because Matcha is also running a little contest. So when you swap on Matcha, powered by 0xv2, you can see the exact way our new Argon router splits your trade. Find the most efficient route and get you the most for your trade all in. Share your sand key diagrams and tag Matcha for a chance to win a weekly 100 USDC prize. They really should be using rounds for this, but I know they probably don't know how to do that. This is fun. So if you went on there and played around with it and you have your own little sand key diagram, take a little screenshot and shoot it over there. It was fun to play around like I had 1,000 ETH, which I do not. So, but it was, made for a nice diagram. So there you
Yeah.
go.
Then just take a screenshot and make it your virtual background.
Yeah, exactly. And this was
Put
great.
it
This
on
is
your
great to
wall.
put it on my wall. I love the sand key
It's
diagrams. They're
pretty.
cool. This is from DeWoofy. Needed USDC on Polygon for Courtyard. DGen purchase. Matcha saved me. I might never use another DEX again. GM Farcaster sponsorship is working. Nice work, Matcha. So thanks for that, DeWoofy. And that was cool. So cool to see. So go take your screenshot of your Sankey diagram and maybe your Courtyard thing will be completely covered by winning the USDC. There you go. I have to share this. This is my background today. This was from Miss Angel. Speaking of things I did not expect, I did not know this was coming. So this is really cool. The 19th piece of the We Are So Early collection featuring Nownish Prof. You can mint it with DGen on base. At this speed, I think it will take me a year to finish 100 pieces, but we are so early and there's plenty of time, so let's go. And I didn't even see the other pieces until I saw this one. And I went back and looked at them and they are absolutely adorable. They're on Zora and none of them are still minting. So they're only on secondary. So I did go and buy a few of the pieces and they're really, really cute. So go check it out.
And is she
It's so
creating 100? She's going to do 100 and wow, you're early in you're an early mint in the We Are So Early collection.
I guess so. I'm number 19. Early. Very exciting. And I love how my dog looks more like my dog than the dog in my PFP. So funny. So, and also I wear those, like I always wear jeans and sneakers like those. So, which she would not know, which I thought was funny. Adorable. I'm like, now I want this as a doll, which is weird, but I do. I want it as a doll, like that I could put on my shelf. It's so cute. Reminds me of like a Bratz doll. And then your background today is our GM Farcaster here for the art, Brian Morris. And I'm just going to read this. We are so excited to share the next contribution to our Here for the Art collection, celebrating the amazing artists of Farcaster this month with the amazing Brian Morris. This incredible piece from brianmorris.eth puts a GM Farcaster spin on his trademark style and totally took my breath away. This mint has been airdropped to our Wow Hyper Sub, as well as our prior Here for the Art artists. This mint will be open until the end of the month, with all creator rewards going to brianmorris.eth. Snap it up while you can. An accompanying podcast with the interview will be out later this week. So actually, the end of this week on Friday, we're going to do a watch party of the podcast interview that I did with him, and we're going to be on for our regular show at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. With I Speak Nerd is going to be the guest co-host for the day, and then so at 8:30 a.m. I'll be running this podcast. So there'll be something at 8:30 as well. So be sure to check in. It's going to be great. It was a great chat that I had with him. Really interesting. His art's incredible. So definitely check in on 8:30 on Friday for that. And then here's a schedule for the rest of the week. We do have Toady with me on Wednesday, and then Doofy's live back Wednesday at 12:30, and then GM Farcaster live Friday with I Speak Nerd at 11:30. So lots of things happening this week. But I love this piece, this art piece.
Super
He
cool.
nailed it. Like,
did you
love
ask
it.
him where we can get the necklace?
No,
IRL?
I think it does not exist yet.
Okay,
We'll
it's going to exist.
We'll have to make
I'm
it.
obsessed
Yes.
with it. I need a gold
me too.
necklace
I'm
with
like,
a gold arch.
We totally need that arch. I'm like, I need this necklace. That was the first thing I thought of when I saw this piece. But I really love, like, I just love all the little details when I look through it. It's just amazing. But yeah, I need the necklace.
The colors are great.
Yeah, everything. The little, like, I love that it has a little comment thing. The little, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And then this is one of his his art piece, the ooze, or the O's. I think he calls them the O's. Is right here, hanging out right there. So it's just so cool. So go pick it up. It is available as a Zora Mint and all creator rewards going back to Brian. So go check that out. We've got a few other things before we dive into Boys Club. That's my next one, but we're going to circle back to that in a minute. This is from Matthew. Channel calendars are now live on Eventcaster, and we need to set ours up. So we'll be doing that probably today. Every channel now has a calendar frame with its upcoming events. Add events to calendars right from the event frame composer. Subscribe in a frame to get notified about channel events without RSVPing. Give it a try here. By default, you have access to post events in any channels you lead, but you can also set the ability for other people to post events on your calendar. So I will set the ability, Adrian, choose from people you follow, power badge users, NFT holders. So this is really cool. I knew this was coming. Matthew had mentioned this before. So this will be something that we use for GM Farcaster and GM Farcaster Network. And I'm excited to try it in a couple other, like the Builder DAO channel as well, for all the meetings and things we have too. So very cool feature. This is big. This might save us from, now we just have to figure out how to integrate it on the Unlonely page, so we don't have to use Luma anymore.
And we need a pinned. Oh no, we can pin. You can't pin on a profile.
You can pin.
We can't pin on a profile. You can pin. You can pin in a channel. I take it back. Never mind.
So I probably will pin that to GM Farcaster Network. I've been putting like our little schedule for the week there, but I'll probably put it, pin it there, and that way it'll just always be there and people can find out this schedule for the week. So that'll be cool. This from, oh, whoops, that was wrong. That was the wrong one. I'm like, and this is Henry's. I just thought that was cute. Back to the waifus. Sorry, it was in the wrong group. But it was really cute. This is really cute. This from Jacek. We're not banning anyone just yet, but we want quality posts to get tips. AI generated content, tip for tip games, and low quality posts that extract value from the community aren't what we support. We reserve the right to moderate posts. So this is interesting. That somebody had pointed out that there was a particular account that had tipped close to 10,000, and they all had something in common. They were all less than 7 days old and had received and locked around 1.2 million degen. So people trying to game the system, there's going to be some consequences there. So don't do this. This should be in the don't do this channel. Yeah, we are seeing this happening. And other news, this was from Yuga. Who gonna dox ran demero.eth? And got some backlash. Don't set up bounties for doxing harmless people. That's pretty weird. So I followed with a bounty as well, and then the bounty I think got taken down. Actually, it wasn't really a real bounty, but it was taken down. So I don't believe that you can actually do this anymore. But I thought it
But
was an
also
interesting.
don't do this.
Don't do this. It was an interesting discussion about whether you should dox somebody, and the answer is no, and not unless you're taking legal action against them. There's really no need. Like if it's that level of important. Otherwise, like let Satoshi be.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine.
What?
It's fine. He's having fun. He's not hurting anybody yet. If there's a problem, then you deal with it. But yeah, I don't think there's any reason to go doxing
Did you
Random
just
Arrow at
compare
this point.
Random Arrow to Satoshi?
I might have, yes. It's more by,
Yeah.
saying like we kind of respect some anonymity in this
Right.
space. So
Yeah.
for reasons like this or pseudonymity, I should say. So yeah, don't do this. There's no reason. But I thought it was an interesting discussion that occurred as well.
Yeah, in the
And
chat, and I, by the way, Links
yeah,
just said, why dox someone irrelevant? It's like suing someone poor, and
yeah,
agree.
agree. Yeah,
And
totally
that's
agree with
right.
that.
That's right, Random Arrow. We just called you irrelevant.
Yeah.
Sorry, he's not gonna like
Now
that.
he's never coming on. He's never there goes our scoop.
His ego has gotten too high anyway. We got to take him down a notch.
Oh my god, that's funny. This from Cassie, and then we're gonna jump into the voice discussion. This week at Equilibrium, posting early because my weekend is going to be on full lockdown mode, getting this upgrade completed, exhaustive prep work for a 2.0 upgrade. Our launch steps starting tonight can be found here. Onboarded a bunch of new Bootstrap peers for 2.0. Say goodbye to some that needed to be shut down. Deep docs for last week's RPCs. So Cassie is doing a massive upgrade. Go take a look at what she's been doing on Equilibrium, especially if you are a dev. You might find it really interesting. It's a little beyond my comprehension, but I do think it's cool. So that is, she's been heads down working on that, and we just wanted to give her a shout out. Good luck with the launch. Okay, so let's talk about this. Okay, so I posted this the other day. Some people may not have understood what I was talking about. Me, yay, new Boys Club pod. Boys Club, we're too old for crypto now. Me, 2 decades plus older. The fuck you say? Okay, I have lots of feelings about this. I'm going to go calm down a bit before I go all Boston on Dina and Natasha. So what I was talking about was, okay, so I go to, I love Boys Club, listen to it every week. So I go to listen to
You know
the
how I
podcast.
discovered Boys Club?
How did you just find Boys Club?
From you.
Oh, I love that.
Because you told me, yeah, I learned about Boys Club from you, and I become a listener and big fan.
And I love Boys Club, and it's so they're very different voices in the space. Very interesting. I always love what they're chatting about, and they have different approaches. But they're this literal feelings. They do a feelings check-in every week, and then they have a second pod. They've kind of separated it because it was always a lot about tech in AI and crypto, and then they would also talk about feelings sometimes at the end. So they've now separated these two pods up. So this was the feelings check-in. And it was feelings check-in, feeling too old for crypto. And I'm going, so right from the start, I go and look at the title and I'm like, okay, you're decades younger than me. So
I don't know if they're decades. Decades.
At least
okay.
a decade and a half for one of them. And I think it's about two for the other. For me, I'm older than you.
Okay.
So this is how I go into this. This is like where my head is when I see the title. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So it gets interesting. So they start talking about, now specifically as they start talking, it starts to make a lot more sense to me. But they're talking about the conference sort of culture. So we do have a culture within crypto. We all know that there's a lot of youngins in crypto. We've got a lot of 20-something founders. Some of them are in jail. So to be clear, some of these 20-something founders are in jail now. But there's a lot of youth and youth energy within the space. So you do have a lot of youngerish folks. And I do tend to be the oldest person in the room a lot of the time. I've accepted this fact. I'm also, often the only woman in the room. So, it happens. And you kind of just have to decide this doesn't matter. And, it's more important to be here. So really interesting though, the conference culture where there are folks who go to every conference and they are, there are these massive parties and there are things that start at 10 p.m. And, so there's a very party culture that kind of caters to the something. So Dina is talking about how she's older of the two and, has a family and all this, and that, this party culture is not working for her anymore. She's starting to feel like maybe she's also bringing the brand down, and that if she doesn't have this sort of like party vibe and she isn't out until, all hours of the night, like it's going to hurt the business. And that was the part that I was like, wait. No. So totally understand why she's feeling this. But the reality is that it's just not true. Like, that's not it might have been the truth of her reality at this moment in time. But there is a much bigger world of people who do not, go to conferences at all. Hello, Dan. Who will post before every single conference that he's not going to be there, who are, founding businesses in this space and doing just fine, with 150 million, recent raise. They're doing just fine without going to any conferences, and who aren't, or if they are going, like we often go, or not often, but a few conferences a year. I'm not out until 2-3 in the morning, unless I'm like at In-N-Out Burger with like a few friends. Like that's where I am at like 1 in the morning. I am not at a bunch rave. You are, but I'm not.
Well, we also do brunches. We have morning. We do tabletop. But that is, it's
There's other ways.
Conferences is not crypto. Like,
yes.
And I think when you think about, they talk about the crypto industry.
Mm-hmm.
There's, I don't even know if there is I don't even really know what that means. So I think listen, they also built an events company, right? So Boys Club is media and events. So for sure, if that's how they built their brand, things change. And the chat's very active right now. And I think I'm scrolling, I lost it, but it's like brand should change and evolve.
Yeah.
And
and Lynx is pointing out, I met him for breakfast at like 6 a.m. because I was going to be awake anyway. It's like those are the meetings, those are the chats that I feel are much more impactful. Is those quieter moments, because it is difficult to meet people when it's crazy and loud and you can't even hear. Like, you're not having very impactful conversations, but you might be like at a breakfast meeting, or you might at, a dinner, or a happy hour, even when it's a little quieter. But to me, it's not the same thing. And also thinking about the other thing she's talking about is that like the younger, like that was it, I forget which direction it was. Either older people didn't want to hang out with the younger people think they're cringe, or whatever. Like, I don't think there's any of that either. I feel like the age gaps are less concerning in crypto, because we all have this thing that we all have in common, and there are so few of us that the age part of it really doesn't matter. And I can see that Grace is in there. And it's funny because like I spent like, I don't know, like 5 hours with Grace one day while I was at East Denver. And it was like we went to breakfast and then we hung out and had coffee, and then we were, like, and she's like definitely younger enough to be my daughter. So, but we have a lot in common just because we're in this space. So it's not, I don't know. It's just, see, one of the best days in Denver. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, this is the
Same.
beauty I think of Farcaster. And like we meet first on Farcaster
Yeah.
behind PFPs that do not reveal unless you think I'm a pixelated orange fox. But they don't really reveal too much about who you are. So you first are meeting people based on what information they're sharing. And
Right.
it's almost like, and you can vibe with people and it doesn't really matter their gender, age, where they
Yep.
are in the world. Like you make friends and then you meet in person and it's great.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. All those like demographics that define us and that sometimes separate us or that are the thing that we use to meet other people are sometimes like just irrelevant on certain platforms. And I think Farcaster is one of them. So it's much more relevant to me is like, what do you, what kind of interesting conversation can I have with you? Or, do we have the same thing in common? Like, am I going to beat you in Catan? Or something like that, or poker. I can't wait for
Sure,
my
is
next
what I've
video game.
heard. Well,
So
when
I
I
think,
listen,
yeah, go ahead.
just when I listen to the Boys
And what was
Club
your take? Yeah,
podcast, and I literally, and hopefully I would love to talk to them. I had so much to
I
say because
know.
so much of what they're talking about is like, listen, it's like, first of all, I love that they do feelings because
Yeah,
it really
greatly
is,
appreciate it.
it's,
Yeah,
it's authentic and it's real and it doesn't feel, crafted. Like so I appreciate that they're doing that in public and it's very genuine. Um, but I could really relate because a lot of what they're saying or she's saying is, I don't see women, like, where are my role models? I don't see the
yeah,
women role models in, kind of one of a certain age in a certain industry. And
sure.
all I wanted to do was put up a mirror
Yeah,
because they're the role models. I mean, it's like it's,
yeah,
what do you expect? You're doing it. You kind of have to become your own role model.
yeah, I agree.
And you have to then you're the role model for the next generation. Like someone's got to do it. So, and they're talking about crypto, right? But it's like, even, I don't know. It's just the world is so big and there's women out there, but crypto is a small industry, like in a
Where it's
bigger world. I don't,
yeah, we're an industry, in terms of the female representation, we're an industry where that comes out of tech and finance, where there's 17% of the leadership roles are filled by women. 17%. So you've got this tiny little group to begin with that in industries that have existed for a while. And now you've got a brand new industry that's coming from those two industries, and there's like maybe 10%, and that is probably a stretch.
Mhm.
And so they were talking about no visible women in power over 30, and I was like, but who are the ones under 30? Because I don't see any visible many women in power, period. And what
Mhm.
is power too? I was like, but what do you mean by power? Do you mean controlling investments or like that level, board seats, CEOs, things like that? And that's what I'm assuming that she was talking about. Um, but also like so I think that's a whole other issue. And the only way that changes is just by more women coming into the space. And I feel that so much it is less of an issue on Farcaster than it is in other spaces. I feel like there's a lot more women who are building and who are building publicly and who we get to see building and interacting every day, that it feels less isolating and less like that than it does in crypto Twitter and in other spaces.
Mhm.
So I think that might be part of it too. So basically what we're saying is, Dina and Natasha, the cure to your problem is to spend more time on Farcaster.
That's totally it. It's kind of the answer to a lot of things. Just more
Yeah.
Farcaster.
More Farcaster. It's just like cowbell.
More
It's like
Farcaster.
somebody really quick, change that up, more Farcaster instead of more cowbell. That's what we need. But it's yeah.
But
So
change takes
yeah,
generations. Like
yeah,
I
yeah.
did. I've been in male-dominated like places forever. I studied engineering. I worked in software for 20 years. I'm now doing. What am I doing now? In some weird
What are you doing
media.
now?
I'm doing new media.
On-chain
on
media,
this,
you know.
yeah, on doing on-chain media.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of comfortable and used to being in mostly male
Same.
spaces. And I'm really grateful that I look back at kind of opportunities my mother had, my grandmother had, my great-grandmother had, and I think we're going in the right direction. And you just got to keep fighting for it. You got to,
Yeah.
and
Yep. Agree. Yeah. And it's not easy, and there's no easy answer. But yeah, it's just it was a really interesting discussion. So go give a listen. We'll add the link in the show notes. But it was an interesting. It had me going in a bunch of different directions. The other thing was there are a couple times when I said like, "Oh, younger people aren't going to think I'm cool." Or that I'm aging the brand or all that kind of thing. And I was just like, I don't, that's the other thing is there's something that happens when you hit your 40s and you have limited amount of fucks to give. And they start to really dissipate in your 40s. And by the time you hit 50, they are gone. You care very little about whether or not other people think you're cool is like, you're over it. But it takes a little time. So you'll get there. You'll get there. All of you will. And
yeah,
then you get to that point where you know how like your grandmother is way cooler than your mother. It just happens.
it,
It just happens over time. You go from like you get very cringy and then you get back to cool again. So it happens. It'll happen. You'll see.
well,
But
listen, you
anyway,
start to realize though that like actually you can't fight time. No one can.
no,
I mean, it is the one battle we're all
no,
going to lose.
yeah, except for
And
Brian
it's the
Johnson, the
No,
longevity
he's
dude.
actually gonna lose it too.
He looks
Well, it's
he looks rough. I gotta tell you, I don't know about that longevity thing. It looks a little rough there.
but it's like the one thing we all have in common. Everybody gets, and honestly, if you were lucky, right? Like if you're lucky, you get old,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
um,
Yeah.
so
Exactly. So anyway, so all of that's why I put that at the end. So for those of you who, we're not interested in whether or not you think we're old in crypto, you can skip that part. But with that, Brian, oh, Brian Johnson looks 40 and he's 40. That's funny.
by the way, the chat has been very
Yeah.
nice to
The chat is
us.
the chat's
We've
hilarious. The
given
chat.
them a lot of opportunity to roast, and they've
Then they
just
chose to
been.
roast other people, which we appreciate.
So
Uh,
thank you.
we appreciate that.
We
But
love
yeah,
you.
but also go listen to Boys Club in general. It's just a really good pod. So there's and we're looking forward to hopefully meeting them next week at Base Camp and FWB Fest, and maybe we can dig into this a little more because I thought it was a very interesting thought discussion. And with that, yeah, he said your waifu's already roasted you. True. Very true. Very true. And with that, so we will be back on Wednesday. And as I mentioned, Wednesday, Toady Hawk will be sitting in for Adrian. Also on Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern, we have Vibe Check with Dewoofi, episode 8. And that one is with TLDR, I believe. And then Friday, we're going to be at 11:30 a.m. Eastern to accommodate my guest co-host, I Speak Nerd, who is going to be coming to us from the West Coast. And then, but at 8:30 a.m., we will have a watch party for my conversation with Brian Morris, who is our featured artist for Here for the Art this month. And with that, did I miss anything? I won't see you for the rest of the week. I'm sad.
Just a big thank you. I call it the summer of Adrian is continuing. I have given myself a lot of time off. And Prof
It's the
has
summer of George.
graciously decided she can just keep going. So thank you to the guest hosts. Thank you for running in my absence.
Yeah.
I'm traveling this week and next week and the following week.
Yeah, there's a lot of traveling. It's a lot of traveling going on. I keep like reaching out, and I'll be reaching out to a couple more people for hosting duties as we continue on. But you will be back with me next Monday. By the way, we
next
are
Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. Yes,
we're doing Monday and Tuesday next week before
Monday and Tuesday next week, and then we travel out to California. We are trying to get Beta Shop on too. Hopefully before, I'm hoping next Monday, Moxie is going to be launching, so hopefully he can jump on with us. And with that, but we will keep you posted on all those things. Have a lovely day, everybody. We will see you on Wednesday, 8:30 a.m. And with that, bye-bye.